As an educator in the field of education for over 25 years, and specifically a technology integrator, I have a view of educational technology that I'd like to share with you as I've seen it over the past few years. First of all, I would go to technology meetings and this would be the conversation. Everyone would be talking about, oh, we got smart boards and projectors, we got clickers, or whatever new technology they acquired. And that was the conversation. More recently, the conversation has switched. And now the conversation is more about how are we using the technology along with teaching strategies to enhance learning. There's a further switch that I see coming down the pike, and that is that technology is actually going to transform education and change the way students learn. Here's a video, and we're going to watch a little bit of this video just to find out what the future classrooms might look like.
What we see in lots of urban schools is a wide variety of student levels. We've got schools with kids coming into middle school on a third grade level.
They're from different countries, they have different cultures, they speak different languages.
They can be kinesthetic, they can be verbal, they can be visual learners. How do you actually teach to this diverse group of students?
School of One is based on one simple idea, that we are organizing an entire school around the needs of every one student.
I like the online tutors because you get to work with different teachers from all around the world. The other day I was working with a teacher from North Carolina.
How many threes did we just have?
5.
Right.
I like how we get to use computers to learn math because I never did that before.
There are 8 different ways that students can learn, and 5 of them are live, and 3 of them are on computers.
I like to work with other people, but not too much.
So you'll notice that 5 live ways to learn and 3 on the computer. So this might be the classroom of tomorrow. So here are some emerging technologies that have come across and been purchased over the past 10 years. One of the big pushes is wireless, and districts are working to get wireless internet access in all of their buildings, which can be a problem, having these dead spots, but they're working on it. We went from having computers and Macs to now smaller netbooks and iPads and tablets coming into the schools. The issues are, should we buy these for the students to use? Should we bring your own device? There's a lot of different issues about which technology should we be using. Then we have classroom interactivity with the onset of interactive whiteboards, smart boards in the classroom with tablets, boards, and also clickers so that all students were clicking in their answers, and it was a great way to give feedback to the students and the teachers, immediate feedback about what they know and didn't know. And with the addition of handheld devices like flip cams and MP3 players, cell phones, iPads, digital cameras, it brought a whole new set of tools into the classroom to help students learn. Currently, we're starting to see the hardware in the classroom that's being used to deliver instruction streamlined. So in the past, and what is currently happening is we have all this equipment in our schools. Smart boards for the students to interact with content, come up and touch the boards. Headphones with microphones so students can create on the computers using their voice. We have cameras, we have video cameras, we have document cameras, we have MP3 players. All this equipment can be almost $3,000. The same things that are done with these things can also be done with just about $450 using this equipment. So an iPad now takes the place of a digital camera, a digital video camera, and a microphone. Those are built into the iPad. When you use this little gadget here and attach the iPad to this little gadget, it turns into a document camera. If you attach your iPad to your computer using this software that's about $5, it's Air Server software, your iPad can now be mirrored onto your computer, and along with this Smart Notebook app, you can now play your Smart Notebook files on your iPad and hand it to the students, and they can interact with the content just like they did with the big smart board. but this will be taking the smartboard off the wall and handing it around your classroom. So you can see that technology is changing over time. Next year it will be even more different. It's never the same. So it's not about the actual hardware and what hardware we're using, but what are we doing with it? Let's look at how the internet has changed. When we started with the internet, it was static. There was text, you could read it, maybe some hyperlinks that you could click on, but you couldn't do anything with it. Web 2.0 allows us to create the internet. It allows us to interact with that internet. So, with what we see here, this is a WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get editor, we can actually edit the internet. We don't just have to read it. Here's a video that shows a little bit about Web 2.0 and what it can do. We're going to watch that outside of this presentation. Now, here's some of what we know about teaching and learning. We know that students are different. That's not something that we can argue with. All students are different. We know that they learn best through authentic, hands-on experiences. We know that they learn effectively when they're socially constructing meaning and talking to each other about what they're learning. And we know that teachers should gradually release the learning to the students by scaffolding. So we start with teacher-directed, teacher doing most of the explanation and modeling, and over time the teacher moves it to be student-directed until the students can do that by themselves. So that's what we know about teaching and learning. What does this have to do with technology? Well, technology can help provide them with the choices so that we can match their learning preferences. We can provide students with authentic hands-on experiences using technology. We can have students socially construct meaning through discussion boards and a number of other technology tools that allow students to have conversations. And technology is motivating, so students are motivated to become more self-directed when you're using technology. So the researchers in the field of educational technology are asking questions. Here's the big question that I hear often. Does technology make a difference in learning? Do iPads make a difference? Do smartboards make a difference? What do you think? Stop the tape and go into the back channel and put in your comments about what you think about this. Does technology make a difference? Okay, now that you've done that, let's look at that. Wrong question. This is not a good educational research question. Do we ask this question? Do paper and pencil improve student learning? Paper and pencil are tools, just like technology is a tool. Technology can make a difference in learning, just like paper and pencil can make a difference. It depends on how you use it. So we have to ask different questions. Here's a little video that kind of makes fun of the question of, does technology make a difference? Let's just watch a piece of it.
I refuse to use pencils in my classroom until manufacturers figure out a way to limit what students can write with them.
I'm sick and tired of policymakers requiring us to use all these pencils without providing professional development. When do I have the time to learn how to use pencils?
I don't trust kids with pencils. They end up doing sketchy things when I'm not looking. You know, kids are always trying to find ways to stay under the radar with these pencils.
If kids can write information down with pencils, soon they won't be able to remember anything in their heads anymore.
I get it. Pencils are toys. But when you ban...
The video goes on, and you can watch it on YouTube if you want to see the rest of it, but you get the idea. Kind of poking fun of us asking the wrong question here. Let's try this again. Instead of asking, does technology work, let's talk about how does technology make a difference in learning? What if we provided every child with an iPad with wireless access? Would that help learning? Well, what kinds of questions would we ask? Here's the students all with their iPads. Let's say teacher A used the iPads throughout the day for students to access the information, provide immediate feedback to students so they know when they're right, when they are wrong, and allow them to create creative products to demonstrate their understanding, and take notes and organize the information they're learning. And let's say teacher B uses the iPads for monthly projects. The kids make movies or presentations to present their information. And here's the students doing that. Or let's say teacher C doesn't really use the iPads, kind of afraid of the technology, but when she's being observed by the principal, she uses the iPads. So, would this enhance instruction in all three classrooms, and to what extent? What are the research questions we should be asking? How about these kinds of questions? Does providing immediate feedback to students with technology improve learning? Since immediate feedback does improve learning, giving students that immediate feedback and letting them know when they're right and wrong so they can adjust their thinking, this makes a difference in learning. So using technology, will that help and improve learning? Does providing coaching for thinking with student screencasts help students develop their thinking? As students create screencasts that show and demonstrate their understanding while they're verbalizing, teachers will be able to coach their thinking. Will this help learning? Do multimedia projects increase student engagement with content? As students create movies and puppet shows and all different kinds of things with the technology, does that help them be more excited about learning? And does that make a difference in what they learn and how much they learn? Does an authentic audience in a blog increase the amount and quality of student writing? I've heard teachers talk about this when they use blogging in classrooms, and they are saying that the students write more and the quality of their writing improves. So we could ask that in research questions. Oh, how about this Prezi? Can using Prezi increase student engagement? How about online discussion forums? Can students construct meaning in this environment? Why should we use technology? One thing is from motivation. Students are more motivated when they're using technology. It also provides us with unique instructional opportunities that we wouldn't have if we didn't have the technology. Here are some instructional approaches to making learning more engaging, and one is using cooperative learning. Technology can be used for cooperative learning, putting students in groups to make products or putting them in online groups where they can collaborate together to produce products that show their understanding. Differentiated instruction is something that's very complex to do. And teachers have often asked me, how can we do this? There's not enough time in the day for us to gather all this information about students and then come up with different possibilities for them. Well, with technology, it's streamlining the process and making it easier for teachers to actually use differentiated instruction more often in their classroom. Technology also appeals to different learning styles, and students are able to solve problems and think at a higher level as they work with these tools. Technology also can be used to make the classroom more streamlined and increase our productivity. It could be used for record keeping. We can get quick and accurate information about what students know and don't know, and we can create these student-friendly materials more quickly using technology. And then there's always the technology itself and students being able to use the technology as this becomes a tool not only for the classroom but for our lives. Students need to have technology literacy, they need information literacy and visual literacy, and all of these things can be done using technology. So in the field of educational technology, we study how using technology might enhance education. Not whether it does, but rather how it does. In this class, we'll look at many different forms of technology and consider how it can be used to enhance education.